In this lesson, we're going to secure our service layer by requiring authorization in order to invoke different methods on our controllers. Using Spring Security, we can put authorization roles in place on any bean within our application context. So we know that controllers are a bean, and what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to protect three methods on the appointment controller. So we see the confirm method, the cancel method, and the complete method. These methods are all pretty much just stubs, but we're going to protect these stubs so that we can prevent a particular type of user from invoking them. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is this necessary? We have different authorization requirements in place at our page level. So, for example, if we sign into the application and we use a normal user, so I'm going to log in as Jane Doe, password of password, and she's going to navigate to her husband John Doe's record. And she's been waiting a while for the appointment to be confirmed. So through some snooping, she just starts to play with the URLs. You'll notice that we don't see the confirm button because she's not an administrator, but what she can do is she can fire off a request to the /appointments/confirm URL. And we'll see that that invokes our controller method, and we end up printing confirmed back to the page. Now, normally there'd be some business logic there. Now, we didn't want her to be able to invoke this confirm method, and that's why we conditionally rendered the confirm button on our user interface or our JSP using the Authorize tag. But it's not enough to prevent a malicious user from invoking this method on our service layer. So we're going to take a look at how we can provide some protection on our service layer. And it's a good practice because we're really practicing defense in depth and having security at multiple layers of our application, not just at that web tier layer. It's very important that we secure our business tier in order to prevent any attempts by malicious users to penetrate our system. So the first thing that we need to do to begin securing our service layer is we need to add some configuration. And this configuration will go in the dispatcher servlet.xml file. Now, we've been dealing a lot with the security context.xml file, but in this case, we need to use our dispatcher servlet.xml file because when our web application starts, multiple application contexts will be created. And we need to have access to all of our controller beans so that we can use the different annotations that we're going to leverage to protect our method invocations on our service layer. So here we see the component scanning happening, and that's causing our controllers to be registered as beans. And then within this XML file, we're going to enable the security namespace. So I'll just click on the namespaces tab and then click on security, and that's going to insert that namespace into our configuration file, and now we can leverage it. So I'm just going to put the security, and then we use the global method security tag. And on this tag, we need to use one attribute, and that is the pre and post annotations attribute on this tag. And we want to change the value from disabled to enabled. And this will allow us to use annotations on our controllers that will allow us to require authorization to invoke these methods. So we're interested in restricting the invocations of the confirm and the complete methods. So what we'll do is we will use the pre-authorized annotation. And this is an annotation provided by Spring Security. And what it does is it requires that the user have a certain role or permission prior to invoking the method. Within the pre-authorized tag, we can specify the value element, and this can be a spell expression. So we're just going to use the has role built-in expression, and we're going to check that they have the admin role. And simply by putting that annotation in place, we have now protected that method from being invoked by a malicious user. Let's restart our server and we'll run through our demonstration of the pre-authorized annotation. So I'm going to navigate to the browser and we'll go back to our context root. And I think we're going to need to log out our user. We'll log out Jane Doe and we'll log in with her husband, Joe Doe, which is actually John Doe, and a password of password. And John is also a regular user. And now we see that we do not have the option to confirm or to mark as complete because he's not an admin user. But let's say he attempts something malicious. So he's going to try to invoke that /appointments/confirm URL, which is going to hit our controller and invoke the confirm method. And now when he attempts to invoke this method, you see that we get a 403 error, access is denied. And that is our service layer protection and our pre-authorized annotation at work. And it's protecting the invocation of methods on our controller. So we have that defense in depth, and that's what we want to strive for in order to create a nice, hardened, secure application. So in this lesson, we saw how we can protect different methods on our service layer and require authorization to invoke them using the pre-authorized annotation and the global method security tag within our configuration files.